Thank you.
Hi, Alicia. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I am so excited to hear about your journey. I loved connecting with you before we hit record. And so I'm just really excited to connect with you even more and learn more about you.
Oh, great. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I know that you are a coach. You focus on motivation and manifestation, which I love. And I want to, hear more about the work that you're doing. But before we dive into that, I would love to hear about your transformation journey and how you got into the work that you're doing now.
It's quite a story. When I started as a mom late in life, I had twins when I was 41 after 5 rounds of in vitro fertilization, and it was quite a process. So I was an older mom, so they put me on bed rest and all that. And then when I ended up having another child after that. But anyway, when my kids were under 4, I got colon cancer and thought I was going to die. And then my kids wouldn't remember me because they were just too young.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really focused all of my energy and attention on getting healthy and getting over this, because honest to God, I worked so hard with those twins. And then my son who came afterwards, that I thought, I've done so much, I can't leave them like this. And then when they're going to need me in high school, those really difficult years, was going to be some other woman who would be taking care of them. And I just thought that was ridiculous. And I didn't want that. So I really got into manifesting and really were focused on getting healthy and having gratitude statements for all the time I'm spending with my kids, and visualizing us doing all kinds of things together, and working on really having a healthy body. And I was able to, I had some surgery, so they took the cancer out and have been cancer free. But just the whole process taught me the power of the mind. I also did, I did everything I could, mind you. I did a lot of focusing on laughter, because I had heard that laughter is such a good medicine. So I watched every single episode of America's Funniest Videos and just laughed as much as I could and tried to be really positive during the whole process. But it made me, A, really appreciate my kids even more, and B, really harnessing the power of manifesting to achieve what I wanted to achieve. So that got me into manifesting. And as my kids were getting older, I could hear in my voice, sometimes I would talk to my kids and I would hear my mother's voice come out. And for me, that was a bit of a horror story because I was not the best child. But anyway, I thought I was determined not to sound like my mother, and I didn't want to repeat the history of family trauma that we had had. So I decided I was going to learn to be a coach so I could respond in better ways when things were coming up. And so that's how I got into manifesting and coaching. So all driven by my kids wanting to be the best mom possible.
That's amazing. I feel so blessed to have this conversation because, I was sharing a little bit before we hit record that I'm pregnant with my 4th, and with my last child, I was on bed rest. I was high risk. There was a lot of fear that the baby could come early, that the baby wouldn't make it. And a lot of my journey was really using exactly what you described: gratitude, visualizing the baby being born full term, and having a healthy baby, and really manifesting and healing my body. And it's different obviously than what you went through, but it's the tools and the mindset is so similar. It's something that one is out of our control, in the sense that you had cancer, I was on bed rest, I was having contractions, these things we can't fully control, but we can control our response to it and how we live with it and how we manage it. And that makes such a huge difference. And I would imagine that, your doctors weren't telling you to do these things. Mine were. And in fact, when I would tell them, I would go see one doctor, and he would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's a miracle that you've made it to, 26 weeks or whatever it was, 27 weeks. Every step of the way, it was a miracle." And I would say, well, I'm really working on my mindset and really visualizing a positive outcome and focusing on the best possible outcome and my body healing itself. And he would just look at me with these, like this confused face, like, what are you talking about? And so it's really, I just feel like it's so beautiful and really in alignment to hear how you were able to use these same techniques to to overcome cancer. Like, it's just incredible, the power of our mind and the ability that we have to manifest and to create a reality that's different than what we might be prescribed with or told by doctors.
Yeah, because the doctors only know what they learned about in medical school, which is all about how to write prescriptions,
Yeah.
as opposed to the body as a vessel that has talents and skills and can cure itself. And, using plant and food as a way to take care of your body. I mean, that's not what they're taught.
Right. And I'm curious, and also the laughter too. I love that because I'm I'm using all of these right now with my fourth pregnancy, and really manifesting my body's strength and ability to carry a baby to full term, and being able to keep myself moving and active and all of that. And it's funny because at night, sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to watch, a little TV and have a little indulgence. And I've been picking funny movies. Like, I watched Groundhog Day.
Oh, good.
I love like anything with Bill Murray. I'm just like, I love it, crack up. So I love
I
that.
don't know. Lost in Translation was a little bizarre, but
Yeah, I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know if I've seen that one, but the other
you
one,
can, you can let it go.
yeah, I'm like, what is the one where he's like, has all the
Caddyshack is my favorite.
OCD like behavior, and he like visits his therapist, and like, well, his therapist on vacation. I can't remember the name of the movie, but that one is just, I love that movie. I laugh all the time to that. But it's just, I love how you were intentional about this, right? Like, it's, when there's, I feel like when there's intention behind it, it can be that much more powerful. Like, yes, watch the funny movie, do the gratitude, do the visualization, but have some intention behind it. I feel like it just makes it that much more powerful. So I love
Exactly.
that you were using it intentionally. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, how did you learn about these things, or where did you, hear about, oh, let me focus on gratitude and visualization and manifest this?
Well, I have been a self-help junkie my whole life. So I've always been reading a lot, and I got into the tarot cards and I Ching when I was in high school and really used those kind of tools. So it's just something that came naturally to me.
Wow.
Um, that when I didn't think of applying it beforehand, like trying to get pregnant instead of having to go through 5 rounds of in vitro, I could have maybe done something more practical. I didn't think of it there, but then as soon as I had that real crisis, I thought, okay, we're going back to the tools that we can handle, we can use. So
Yeah. And then how, when you're in that experience, there, for a lot of people, turning off the mind from worry to gratitude, it's like, how do you do that? That can be really challenging, especially if you have an overactive nervous system and you're on fight or flight. How are you able to do that? Like, when everything's telling you, like, okay, this is what you have. This is, I'm sure statistics were being thrown around, percentages. How are you able to go through something so difficult and still be able to focus on gratitude and
the
visualize?
thing that is something that I'm sure you're very familiar with is with energy work, and really focus on breath work and energy work. First, the breathing work to calm myself down if I would get nervous. The power of the breath is just amazing. But then visualizing positive energy flowing through my body and nourishing me, and really focusing on the visualization of like actually giving birth to my children, and how it was going to be smooth and easy, and really focusing on the power of the ease. Like, this is going to be easy and I'm able to do it, and I'm strong enough and I'm capable and I can do it. And really using that power there. And it's not easy every day, but I really have some powerful experiences in my life where I felt really strong and powerful not related to children or childbirth or anything, just in terms of career focus. And I would just embody the feelings that I had from that event and bring it over to this event so that I could get that feeling in my body, and my body could respond to it like, oh yeah, this is right, this is good, just pulling in the energy from that. And I think that is a super helpful thing. I don't see people talking about it so much, but even if you see something on TV or the movies where a person is going through something that's really makes them euphoric and they have that real sense of personal being in the moment and being able to envision that so that you get that uplifting feeling in your body, it's super helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I agree. It's like the energy behind it. We don't talk about it enough because I think people think like, oh, what are you talking about? Like energy, like what does that mean? But we all know it because we all know what it feels like when we're feeling good and when we have a positive outlook in life and when we don't. And we can, in the same week, in the same day, we can experience both.
And you really understand it when you meet someone and you think, oh, their energy is off. It's like, oh, something about that person, doesn't sit right with me. So, they may be feeling like there's something off about that person, but really it's their energy. And that's a good indicator. So people's energy really has an impact on other people, on environments, on all, even on animals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful, step in the manifestation process is where's your energy at and
Mhm.
how do you shift your energy? I love breath work. I'm a huge fan of breath work. I do it often, if not every day. And, you know, that really helps to calm the nervous system. And then I also use CBD as another tool to help calm my nervous system, to ground me. And then it's those feelings, right? Like the feelings of gratitude. And so for me, like with my pregnancy, I would visualize, the baby coming and I'm holding the baby and she's healthy. And I would like cry tears of gratitude because it felt so real. And it
Right.
wasn't like I did that every day, like, even just a few times during my pregnancy, but that was enough to really get my energy to where it needed to be to stay on that path. And also I did a lot of self, really just sitting in like not silence. I would play like music that was very calming. And I would just repeat things like, my body can heal itself. My body is strong. My body's getting stronger. My body, and just using those words to again bring in those feelings that I really truly believe helped manifest a full term pregnancy against really all odds.
But even more than that, while you're bringing in that energy and bringing that feeling in for you, those vibes are translated for your baby too. Your baby is feeling that too, and feeling that good energy and feeling nurtured and feeling loved and feeling grounded, even though, you're looking at this tiny little infant inside your tummy, but they still can feel the resonance from how you're feeling. So if you're stressed out about, maybe losing the baby, or, that yours gets so tight and stressed, and the baby feels that too. And that makes it for a more anxious child. And so being able to be calm and relaxed and present makes a huge difference.
Yes, absolutely. So
So
I
keep that up.
thank you. Yes. And I want to hear more about your journey. You use these tools to overcome your cancer.
Yeah.
And what did you do from there?
Well, I really have put together my own little manifesting process. It's called Manifest Your Destiny, and destiny is the acronym. And it's just to help keep people focused on the process, because manifesting, it's like medicine. It's a practice. It's something you work at and you get better, and then you learn to get better at it. And then there's still more things you can do. It's not something like follow the steps 1 through 5 and you've got it, but it's something that you can get better and you can drop into quicker, and things can manifest faster. So it's really, really an exciting tool to use and to be able to harness the power of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love manifesting. I love, just seeing how really cool things can happen. And I don't know if you look at human design, I have just have a really basic understanding, but I have learned that I'm a non-specific manifester. So I don't have to get into like the details of everything I want to manifest. For me, it's like more of a feeling. But if I do have something specific, like a specific outcome, it's actually, it's like, and I said this actually earlier when I was describing, my manifestation of a full-term pregnancy, when the doctors were telling me like the chances of having a preterm baby were very high. It was that feeling of gratitude and that seeing the baby come to full term. Like I didn't have to do that every day. Like I don't have to focus on what I'm manifesting to bring. In fact, it's almost like I focus on it like once or twice and then it's like release it. And so I'm curious, like if you've looked into that at all and how that applies, for you in your manifesting journey and with your client.
The release is such an important part where then you're trusting the universe that all this will happen and you're not trying to control it, because the more you try to control it, the more it dissipates and it just doesn't work. So the release element is really critical. So you've got that down in spades. That's really great.
And have like, and again, it's like, it's another part of the manifestation process that can be challenging, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like, when the circumstances in your face are saying one thing, it's hard to release that and to show the gratitude and to feel those feelings of optimism. So are you using breath work again when you're releasing, or are there other techniques that you use when you're in
breath work I use mostly when my clients are really anxious and I need them to focus and get centered. I wanted to just make one other point, because you said you really focus on the feeling, and that is so important. Like so many people think they have to manifest. I mean, I tell my clients, you need to manifest something specific. Like if you want to, it's like a GPS system. If you say, oh, you want a house, I would be like, oh, I want to manifest a trip to France. Well, I mean, France is kind of a huge place, but you can say, well, all right, I want to manifest a trip to Paris. Well, guess what? Paris is still a big place. Like, what is it that you really want? Like, oh, I really want to manifest dinner at Le Violon d'Angers in the 7th arrondissement. Like, okay, now you got something going for you, because then the universe can deliver on something specific that you have. But just like that specific restaurant, it can also be a specific feeling. So really focusing on that feeling to bring the feeling about. And what are the things that will help you to feel that way? And when in the past have you felt that way? And how can you embody that feeling from before? It's really, really, really great.
Yes, I love that. And it's true. Like there's different ways to bring in the feeling. Like sometimes I bring in the feeling when I think about the specific thing that I want or the specific outcome. And sometimes it's like you said, looking back at another event that happened where I had that feeling. Or sometimes, like for me, it's through movies. Like I love movies because like The Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. I love that movie so much. She like finds out she has this diagnosis that she's going to die in like 3 weeks. So she pulls out all her money and she like finally goes on the dream vacation she always wanted to go to. And she takes all these risks that she never, wanted to do before. And she ends up like making all this money and finding the love of her life and, finding out that she's not going to die. And it's just like, there's power in movies and in bringing that feeling for us, that feeling of like optimism and hope. And it's funny that, we've been talking about movies with laughter and then, a tool to really bring up those good feelings.
Yeah.
In a challenging time.
Yeah. I mean, now are very challenging times, but just to have that, and laughter is such good medicine.
Yeah. Someone told me recently that when you're laughing, you cannot be in fight or flight. You cannot be stressed. And right. So if you're feeling stressed, try laughing, like just laugh. And then it's like, oh, I'm not stressed. You can't have both at the same time.
It's the point of all those stupid dog things on Instagram and all those funny little cat things. Like it's to release your tension and let it go so you can focus on something else.
Yes, absolutely. So
I wanted to just get back to the breath work because you were asking about that. And I think breath work is something that's also really good, because when people are in fight or flight, just to be able to take a moment to really ground themselves and use their breath, because it's a tool they have with them all the time and they can easily adapt it. And doing simple box breathing, 5 in, hold, 5 out, hold, just do that 3 times and you can feel the difference. immediately. It really makes a huge difference. So it takes you from scattered and anxious to grounded and centered.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And like you said, it's just a few seconds of breathing.
yeah. I mean, the Navy SEALs use it. Like that's the top that we have. And if they're using it, of course, why we should use it too on a regular basis to really help us achieve what we want to achieve.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to hear more about how you got into coaching and tell us more about the work that you're doing now.
So like I said, I got into coaching because as soon as I hear these words coming out of my mouth that my mother was saying, I was like, okay, we need a different script coming out that we're not going to repeat those same things over again. And so I went to coaching school to learn a better way and really enjoyed that and really love working with clients. And everyone has different tools, and I've spent a long time as an accountability coach and did goal setting because I'm also obsessed with goal setting. But I noticed that a lot of my clients weren't actually achieving the goals that we set out to, and they would get distracted, and life just gets in the way. You have plans, and life has other plans. And so I wanted to figure out what I could do to really help my clients to actually achieve the things that are important for them. And people talk about time blocking and all this stuff. Yeah. Those are good tools, but there had to be something more. And so that's when I figured out, oh, manifesting. So as soon as we finish our goal setting, then I teach them about how to manifest so they can really focus and have a little ritual that they do each day. So where they do their gratitude statements, really look at the next 3 inspired action steps that they're going to take for that day to achieve their goal. Really, and focusing on their energy and bringing the energy in so that they can be the kind of person who achieves those goals. I think that's was an issue that came up when I was doing the programs, is people would start out here and then they would want to go here, and they didn't realize, like, to bridge that gap requires becoming a different person and thinking about things in a new and different way. So the manifesting really helped them to bring that new full self out. So it's been
Yeah,
really
love that. And
exciting.
can you kind of dive into that a little bit more? Because I totally hear what you're saying. It's like you do, right? Because if you're the same person, then you're going to make the same choices and take the same steps. And then
Because we have a mirroring universe, right? The universe mirrors back at you what you're showing it. And if you're mirroring that, you're a person who doesn't achieve your goals and can't get things done and are messy in your household, and that's what's shown to you. But if you take control over your environment and set things up in a way that are beautiful and you feel good about these things, then the universe is going to meet you at that higher level and is able to deliver so much more, so much better for what you want.
Oh, I love that so much. And before we kind of wrap up, I would love to hear what is like one really powerful way that we can start to really change our identity and change who we are so that we can start to manifest more and more.
The one thing that's easy to do is to have a role model or something from the movies or a book that you think, oh yeah, that's like, I grew up looking at Jackie Kennedy as like this wonderful role model, and she was always pulled together and always very calm and present in her way of being. And so for me, I like to embody that person and that energy. And so, younger people have other different people that they're finding as role models. So, but just finding someone like that who really excites you, and you can feel, you don't want to be that person, but the energy around that person is what really is going to make the difference
Yeah, I
and
love that.
pulling you up.
And it's like what can affect our energy, like you said, it's our environment, right? How does our home look, our living space, and also like our posture and how we're dressed and what feels good, and just like even just holding your shoulders back and standing taller, that really can have a big impact on you, on your energy and how you feel, which is
Hmm.
going to impact the steps that you take, and
Yeah.
take that inspired action from that
Yeah.
energy.
One other thing that another tip that I work with my clients on is to have a very strong image of where they want to be in 5 years, looking at their 5-year future self. And then when they're making decisions today, think about, well, is this going to lead me closer to my future self or further away? Is this what I need to do to get to where I want to go? So just making that simple decision-making step really is helpful.
I love that. I love that, looking into that future self and asking yourself, would that version of me make this decision right now?
Exactly. Exactly.
I would love to hear where people can find you, how they can work with you, and then a final takeaway before we wrap up today's episode.
So you can come check out my website, aliciaberberich.com, and I have a manifesting 30-day program. It's a free program. You can sign up, and I send you a reminder each day about going through your manifesting process and just talk about manifesting and the kind of impact it can have on your life. And it's free. It's 30 days. It's to help you build the habit of manifesting. So that's available, and you can sign up on my website.
Amazing.
So that's really fun. So as a final takeaway, I would like to encourage everybody, a big part of manifesting, like in The Secret, they talked about visualizing, but really the critical element is taking inspired action and taking 3 inspired actions each day, because then the universe knows that you're serious about this. You're not just a dreamer or a looky-loo. You are serious about your commitments, and you're taking these actions, and then the universe can meet you where you are. So do your inspired actions every day.
I love that so much. 3 inspired actions. Got it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was lovely to talk with you.
Thank you. It was great fun. It was a wonderful, wonderful conversation.
Thank you.